What is going on? We are live. It's Saturday night. You know what we're here for, everybody. We're going to talk some fantasy football, start, sit, trade talks, free agents, waiver wire, all that fun stuff. Who the heck is this Christian McCaffrey guy that's going to be playing football tomorrow? What? But yeah, dude, let's get into it. Big week 10. We got some nice matchups. Dak Prescott done for the year. Tore his hammy right off his bone. So what's that going to do for the Cowboys? I mean, let's just be honest. We weren't high on the Cowboys anyways, right? I think CD will be fine. If you're an owner of CD Lamb, I think we're going to be just all right. Um, we've seen what Cooper Rush has done with him in the past when Dak has been out. So I think CD is still going to get his. Um, so let's not worry, but it's everybody else on the Cowboys, right? We weren't playing the running backs anyways, but even less now, right? Like Dowdle's been kind of a possible flex type guy, right? I don't even know if I want to flex him now. Um, you've got CD. Jalen Tolbert has flirted with being a flex guy, helping cover bye weeks and things like that. I don't know that that's an option now. Um, Not that anybody owned Jonathan Mingo, but he's on a new team, and yeah. What is up, Duncan? How we doing, brother? Hope life is going good. Hope we got our lineup set. We're going James Cook. Um, I think we're kind of always going James Cook, right? James Cook has proven to be a kind of a bell cow running back there. We love James Cook here. Um, so, but yeah, hope you got your lineup all set up and ready. How we doing tonight? How is everyone doing? So let's look at some things. Okay, here we go. Tyrone Tracy, James Cook, or Josh Downs, or Brian Thomas for the flex and RB2. So I need one RB spot and a flex spot PPR. Okay, so we're starting two of those guys. We're starting a running back. Our running back is James Cook. Our flex, Tyrone Tracy, Josh Downs, or Brian Thomas. Josh Downs let us down a little bit last week, but so did Flacco, right? They're playing Buffalo. Buffalo doesn't give up a ton of points to wide receivers. They're one of the best in the league as far as that concerned. So little worried about playing Josh Downs. Let's see here. Josh Downs, Brian Thomas. What's his matchup this week? Brian Thomas Jr., who didn't really have that big of a week last week. He's questionable. They're playing Minnesota, practicing in a limited fashion this week. So who knows what we're going to get out of him now. Minnesota does give up the second most points to wide receivers. So that's definitely good, right? We like that kind of action, but we are concerned about the chest. He is questionable, should play. It's a new nice thing is it's a noon game, right? So we don't have to worry about, if he doesn't play, we still got the full slate of games ahead of us. So we're not concerned about that. And then we've got Tyrone Tracy, who's been really good as of late. They're playing Carolina. Ooh, buddy. Tracy concussed. He didn't have any limitations after clearing protocol on Friday, so he looks good to go. So I think I want to go ahead and go with Tyrone Tracy. I think in this case, we're going to go James Cook and we're going to go Tyrone Tracy. We're going to go double running back on this. Put one in your running back, put one in your flex spot, and be good to go. Tyrone Tracy with a nice matchup against the Panthers. James Cook is James Cook, right? We're going to let him cook. I'm not concerned. Especially they're playing Indy, right? So I'm not really concerned about production. They're middle of the road against running backs, but look for Cook to get back to his touchdown ways. I mean, he got you five catches last week, 25 yards, 10 rushes for 44 yards in a close game against Miami. They just kind of went away from the the run. I don't see that happening this week against the Colts. I see them running the ball a decent amount. James Cook is going to get his. Tyrone Tracy playing the Panthers. I like that matchup. So that's what we're going to go with. That's where we're at with that. Those are two running backs that are catch the ball out of the backfield too, right? So you're not just relying on the run game there. You're getting the run game and you're getting the pass game from both of those guys. With it being a PPR league too, let's roll with Tyrone Tracy and let's roll with James Cook there, Duncan. That's where we're at with that. You've got to worry about Brian Thomas because we're looking a couple weeks in a row where he's going into the week hurt. Didn't get us much production last week, right? So you're just kind of, and it's a new injury. It was an ankle the week before. Now he's dealing with a chest injury. He's been he's been up and down, right? But yeah, I'm just gonna err on the side of caution and play I like the matchup for Tyrone Tracy, and I love James Cook. James Cook is a guy that I'm going to plug, play. Should leave him in the lineup. I don't care about matchups. I'm not concerned about his production. So that's where we're at with that. Hopefully you agree. And if you don't, that's fine. That's where we're at with it, and that's what our logic is with it. How's everyone else doing? We got any more start sit questions? What do we got, guys? We're a little quiet coming into the night. Normally we're coming out firing, but I really haven't looked too much into my lineups for this week. I'm still kind of working on mine. I looked at them a little bit before the Thursday night game just to make sure I had Jamar Chase in, which Jamar Chase is just come on. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow both are just playing great. It sucks for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because that defense of theirs is just so bad. They can't stop anything. They did great the first half, but the second half they just couldn't keep Lamar in check. You knew that was going to be a tough one. It was going to be a tough day for them. I got one league here where Jamar dropped 36 points for me. 11 catches, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, two 40-plus yard touchdowns on top of that. He saw 17 targets this week. Yeah. I'll tell you a guy that I'm a little high on who's been playing pretty good as of late. Xavier Leggett. He doesn't have an injury designation going into this week. So we've got that going for us. He's playing the Giants, favorable matchup, and he's looked good the last couple weeks. 8:30 a.m. game. We got that bright and early game there in Germany between the Giants and the Panthers, but Deontay Johnson's not there anymore. Jonathan Mingo's not there anymore. They really want to see what they've got with Xavier Leggett. And, he hasn't gotten you a ton as far as yardage and receptions are concerned, but he's gotten into the end zone, right? And that's where you're going to get your points. But yeah, four catches, 33 yards last week, 4 for 34 the week before, both a touchdown. He is getting rushing attempts in the last 3 weeks. 12 yards total on 3 rushing attempts. So they're finding ways to get this kid the ball. So that's definitely going to be a plus for us, right? But Xavier Leggett's starting to show that he's got a little bit of value in your Yahoo leagues. He's only rostered in 36% of your leagues. So if you're dealing with some injuries, he's definitely a guy that you can go ahead and go and pick up and be able to play. I'm starting him in one of my leagues this week, at least one, because I got a few guys on what do we got going here with my situation? I got Jaden Reed on a bye, which is kind of the guy that I've been going with. But I like Xavier Leggett this week. If you're a Saquon Barkley owner, you're playing him this week. They're playing the Cowboys. It's a no-brainer. The Cowboys can't stop the run, as well as that offense isn't going to keep the Eagles' defense on the field. That Cowboys defense will probably spend a lot of time on the field this week. So look for Saquon Barkley just to tear it up this week. I like Saquon this week. Um, I like Jalen Hurts. I like Devonta Smith. I like AJ Brown. I like all of those guys. I like every single part of the Eagles offense this week going up against the Cowboys. And speaking of the Cowboys, I already talked about it a minute ago. I don't like any of the Cowboys. I'm okay still playing CD, although I am concerned about the shoulder. He is playing, but he was hurt pretty damn bad this last week. I mean, you saw it like late in the game. Um, it seemed like if the wind blew past him too too much, he was hurt. He does not have any injury designation at all. Um, so and again, I'm okay with him even with Cooper Rush there because they've shown in the past that Cooper's shown that he can keep CD going. Last week he had 8 catches for 47 yards, 2 rushes for 15 yards. So yeah, I still like CD. We still like CD Lamb, guys. What else do we got going on, guys? Let's take a look. I need to figure out. Hold on a second. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of work through. Okay, sorry, I'm back. That's all right, Duncan. No worries, man. No worries. Hopefully you heard what I said. You didn't miss it. I said Tyrone Tracy and James Cook is who I'm rolling with out of those guys. CMC is going to be back this week. Jordan Mason doesn't have an injury designation. So what does this mean for Mason? They're playing in Tampa. They give up a decent amount of points to running backs. Tampa will stay with them. I don't expect to get full bore CMC. Dalton Kincaid or Pat Freiermuth. Dalton Kincaid has just been. We haven't gotten out of Kincaid what we really expected to get out of him. He's been kind of a safe play because you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get 3-4 catches, 30 to 50 yards. You're not getting a ton. Now they are playing the Colts, give up the 4th most points, 2 tight ends. So that definitely helps. Pat Freiermuth, what are we getting out of him? Especially since Russell Wilson came back. We're not getting a lot out of Freiermuth. You're looking at 2 catches, 2 catches, 2 catches, 16 yards, 51 yards, 19 yards. I mean, he's got a couple weeks where he had some touchdowns. He's got a pretty good matchup against Vegas. They give us the 5th most points. 2 tight ends. But I mean, like the last 2 weeks, again, we're looking at 2 catches, 2 catches. I think I'm gonna lead Kincaid on this one, but just barely. Again, you're looking at a guy who's averaging in the last few weeks between one guy who's catching 3 to 4 passes and a guy who's catching 2 passes. So it's not much, but Dalton Kincaid. Nahil, Tank Dell or DJ rest of the season. So we got Nico Collins is back this week. We get Nico Collins back, which what's that going to do for Tank Dell going forward? No Stephon Diggs, so let's keep in mind Stephon Diggs is done. I think that kind of helps Tank Dell out. He's no longer the number 1 guy there. He's now becomes the number 2 guy. He has been dealing with a back injury. He is expected to play this week. We'll see. I kind of want to go with someone else over him because he's got the Sunday night game. So if you're deciding on if you're going to play Tank Dell this week, just kind of hold off on that, right? Here's my thing with DJ Moore. It looks like he's quit on the Bears. I mean, you saw him straight up just walk off the field during plays. him and Caleb just aren't connecting at all. Um, I don't know what's going on. Like, if it's like he doesn't want to be there in Chicago, but if he didn't want to be there, why'd he sign this big ass contract before the season started? Right there in training camp. But I'm gonna go Tank Dell the rest of the season because he actually looks like he wants to play football. Like, that's all there is to that. DJ Moore just does not look like he wants to play. So yeah, give me Tank Dell going forward. Duncan agrees. Yeah. Would you start Amari or Dell? Um, how are we looking with Cooper? He didn't play last week. He's still listed as questionable. Um, Same practice regime is on all the injury reports. He did play. He had one catch. Oh no, it was the week before. One catch. I kind of want to go. Yeah. See, here's the nice thing about this one. If Cooper doesn't play, you've got Dell playing the Sunday night game. But Dell is also dealing with a back injury as well. So you're kind of dealing with two guys that are kind of hurt. Um, all things equal, if Amari plays, I kind of want to go with Amari on this one. Um, I just think Tank Dell's got a tough matchup against Detroit. They do give up a decent amount of points to your wide receivers, but they tend to kind of keep them out of the end zone. Um, I think Houston might have some problem scoring. That Detroit defense has been playing really great, even with Hutch out. Um, Maybe Zadarius is going to be playing this week. Zadarius Smith, I don't know for sure if he's going to be playing or not, but if he gets in there, he's definitely going to be doing good. So you just got to kind of keep an eye. If Amari plays, I want to play Amari over Dell. But the nice thing is Amari's got the noon game and Dell's got the night game. I'm okay with CD the rest of the season, Duncan. Um, with Cooper Rush playing. Let me throw that in there with Cooper Rush playing. Um, you might get to a certain point in time where they might throw Trey Lance out there just to kind of see what's up because Cooper Rush and Trey Lance are both free agents this year at the end of the season. So they might throw at some point in time they might throw Trey Lance out there, and if they do, I don't like CD with Trey Lance. With Cooper Rush, I'm fine because we've seen in the past with when Dak was out, when Dak missed, I think it was like 4 or 5 games a couple seasons ago, and the Cowboys went 5-0, 4-0. They went undefeated um, with Cooper in there. Um, that CD was still doing good. So Cooper's still going to get CD the ball. I'm still fine with CD. I'm not fine with anybody else on that Cowboys offense, including Cooper Rush, right? I mean, we're not going to play Cooper Rush. That's just all there is to it. If we're playing Cooper Rush, we've got problems quarterback wise because there's a lot of other quarterbacks out there we can go and pick up. But I'm still fine with CD Lamb going forward this season. Maybe a little bit of a notch down, but he's still going to be a guy that you're going to want to play because he's still going to get his catches, he's still going to get his targets, and we've seen that again. We have history of that with Cooper Rush getting CD the ball, so I'm okay with that, especially in a game like tomorrow where I expect the Eagles to just kind of run this score up. I'm big on Saquon this week. Um, so the Cowboys are going to have to try and keep up scoring wise. They're not going to do it with the run. They're going to have to do it with the pass. So you can see a lot of passes, a lot of garbage time type stuff going on. So CD could probably rake up some yards and some catches and stuff, especially in like the fourth quarter and things. So yeah, garbage. Give me some garbage time. Yeah. Dell and Amari are both injured. Amari didn't play last week. Just keep an eye on it. Like I said, if Amari plays, I'm playing Amari over Dell. I just think he's got a better matchup against the Colts. versus Dell against the Lions. Jameson Williams, J.K. Dobbins, or Chuba Hubbard at the flex. Michael, what is up, sir? Jack, are we in a PPR league? Let me know. 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 Are we a PPR? Are we a standard? Don't forget to hit the like button. That's right, Michael. Smash that like button. But yeah, Jack, let me know. Are we PPR or standard? Yes, PPR. Okay, PPR. Here's the thing with JMO. He's not going to get a ton of catches. He's going to get you 3 or 4. He's probably going to bust a 40 or 50 yarder, something big, right? JK, I like Chase to the Moon. That's right, buddy. I like JK Dobbins. Who are they playing? Who are the Chargers playing this week? If I could spell. Let's see here. They got Tennessee. I like that Tennessee matchup. I love that Tennessee matchup. Tennessee gives up the 13th most points to Titans, to running backs, kind of in the middle of the field there. But you're looking at JK's been doing pretty good the last few weeks, with the exception of week 7, right? But since week 8, week 6, a touchdown, nothing in week 7, touchdown, 2 touchdowns last week. A pretty good matchup against Tennessee, so I definitely like that right there. And then who was our third guy? Chuba Hubbard. He's playing the Giants. Is Jonathan Brooks? Where are we at with Jonathan Brooks these days, guys? Has he found his way onto the field? He is not. He's questionable. Man, that's going to be a tough one. To me, it's going to come down between J.K. Dobbins and Chuba Hubbard. I love JMO, but you're not going to get a ton of volume from him. Maybe, like I said, a big touchdown. If you get extra points for 40-plus yard receptions, that's definitely something good. You know what, though? I am going to go ahead and lean. Let me go ahead and go JK on this one. Chuba's got to travel to Germany, right? You're going over to Germany. Sometimes you get that jet lag. Give me J.K. Dobbins in this one, and it's close. It's really close. For me, it's between J.K. and Chuba. I think I'm just going J.K. just because of the travel aspect of it. So, what are your thoughts on the CMC return, and will Debo do good? They need Debo to do good. Here's my thing. I'm going to move forward with caution with CMC. I'm probably going to play him. Like I don't own CMC. I avoided him this year. If you have him, you drafted him with your number 1, your number 2 pick. He's back. I mean, you kind of got to play him, right? Unless you've got some other good studs out there, but we don't know what he's going to be like out there. I'm having flashbacks to Todd Gurley when he was doing arthritis in his knees. And once that became an issue, he was just non-existent, a non-factor, even when he was on the field. Hopefully CMC is not the same way. I'm actually surprised he's coming back. He's going to be dealing with a short workload tomorrow, but I do think the 49ers are going to try and find a way to get him in the end zone. So I think you're looking at TD dependent type number out of CMC. You're not going to get the big workload that we're used to him getting. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm more excited if he makes it through this week. Then I start to get a little excited about CMC. But this week I'm cautiously optimistic. I do think they find a way to try and get him in the end zone to welcome him back, right? But I don't know. And will Debo do? They need Debo to do good. They need him to. You know, Ayuk's done. They're hurting in a bad way. They got to get it going. They need Debo to do good. So hopefully he does. I'm a Debo owner, and he's killing me. So hopefully he does. Duncan says Chuba, Chase to the Moon. Man, yeah, he did great. Picked up TJ Hawkinson, but I have Kincaid. I'm going to go with TJ over Dalton Kincaid. And here's the thing. I just think, let me look. Did TJ do anything for us last week? He's got 4 total points. You got your 4 catches, or I'm sorry, 4 targets, 3 catches, 27 yards. Got a good matchup against Jacksonville. I do like the matchup with Jacksonville. Dalton Kincaid's going to get you 3 to 4 catches, 30 to 50 yards. That's about it. Maybe a touchdown, but I think TJ Hawkinson is a guy that's got a lot more upside. Um, I just like him more. I like, and he's gonna get more work as the season goes on, as he's coming back from that knee injury. I just think you have a way higher ceiling with TJ Hawkinson versus Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid's not the guy that he just hasn't been the guy that we thought he was going to be going into the season. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at with that. Michael, no games this week. We had this weekend off. No tournament this weekend. So we've got a tournament next weekend, which we're only going to be there for half of it. She's going to have to miss Sunday. I got a company thing on Sunday. But yeah, no tournament this weekend. We had the weekend off. Oh, I forgot about that game. Yeah. I traded him for Walker and Zay. Who, Duncan? Who did you trade for Walker and Zay? Let me know. Let me know. Oh, you just lost again. Oh, you sucks. Dropped Purdy and picked up Kyler Murray. Was that smart? Kyler hasn't for CMC, dude. That's a great. Yeah, I mean, I would have done the same thing for Kenneth Walker and Zay Flowers. Absolutely, I would have jumped all over that. Duncan would have jumped all over that. Kyler, we didn't get much out of Kyler last week, did we? He's got a tough matchup this week against the Jets. He got 154 yards. You got your 4 points last week. Kind of going forward, he's got a better schedule. He's got a nice, decent schedule coming up. All of his tough matchups are kind of behind him. So he's got a lot of good matchups, more favorable matchups. Purdy hasn't been that great. What we've seen in the last year or two, he's been okay. He's got a lot of tough matchups coming up though. They're kind of even on the season. I mean, I think it just kind of boils down to I could see Kyler. Kyler has to do more for the Cardinals to win than Purdy has to do for the 49ers to win. Especially if CMC with CMC again, we're holding our breath, we're seeing what happens, but if CMC comes back and it is himself, then that takes a load off of Purdy and that actually kind of helps Purdy out, especially with having CMC back there. I would like to think that there's probably a better quarterback out there than those two options for you, Jack. Probably still out there. How about that? There's probably another quarterback out there that I like more than I like Purdy and Kyler. So, yeah. How about Georgia getting whooped by Ole Miss today? And then I somehow I missed Colorado getting better this season. They took care of business against Texas Tech. And then Texas whooped up on Florida today. That's right, Duncan. Hit that like button. CMC, Duncan. Yep. I have Hurts, though, so I'm not starting Kyler, of course. Yeah, especially this week. Especially this week. I like Jalen Hurts this week up against the Cowboys. Although I think Saquon, if you have Saquon, I mean, obviously we've been playing him all season, but we're definitely playing him. Where if you're someone who likes to put a little coin on a game, maybe on a little prop bet, I'm taking Saquon in the over, whatever his yards are. But yeah, who will finish at RB1 and tight end 1, wide receiver QB1 for the full PPR league? Man. Get that here in a second. Jack said top QBs are Bo Nix, Stafford, and Daniel Jones. I love Stafford now that Cooper Kupp and Puka are back. I really like Stafford. They're going to sling the ball. Bo Nix has gotten better and better. I like Bo Nix more than I do going forward, Kyler and Purdy. I do. I like Bo Nix. He's looked now last week was rough. But before that he was actually looking pretty good. But Stafford, I like Stafford bet more than I do Kyler and Brock Purdy for sure, 100%. Of those three guys, I'm all about Matt Stafford there, especially with again we're talking we've got Cooper Cup and Puka back, right? We just need Puka not to punch people. Bonehead. But yeah. Man, okay, who's gonna finish RB1, tight end one, wide receiver one? I mean, I think RB1. I think RB1 is probably going to go to. Let me look at something here. I want to say Saquon, um, especially because he's got 2 more weeks. He's got this week and he's got next week against the Cowboys. He's your RB3 right now, and he's behind quite a bit behind Derrick Henry. Um, but give me, yeah, I like Henry too. Give me, I want to say Saquon. I think Saquon's more. He's got some good matchups coming up that are really going to help him. So give me Saquon there. Derrick Henry, close second for sure. Tight. I mean, yeah, it's a crapshoot with tight ends, to be honest with you. I'll tell you who I actually kind of like. I like K. Dotton, especially with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin both out. K. Dotton has really stepped up the last couple weeks. Look for him to step up again this week and have another. I think K. Dotton's a must play right now. He's your tight end number 3 right now behind Kittle and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is good. It's just I think they're starting to go with Desmond Ritter. I think it's just quarterback play that I'm worried about with Brock Bowers. I mean, George Kittle's great, but it's big games and then nothing, 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 nothing. Big games, nothing, 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 nothing. Um, but give me Kate Otten just because I like his quarterback. I like Baker, um, and he's almost become the number one receiving option there. So wide receiver, I mean, it's to me, it's gonna be Jamar Chase. Um, and I mean, he's running away with it right now. I mean, Justin Jefferson's number 2, but like in this league I'm looking at right here, this is a Yahoo default league. Jamar Chase is 60 points ahead of Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase is just, I mean, you saw what he did this last week, right? He takes over games. Chase is so good. It's ridiculous how good he is. It really is. But I mean, he's got Joe Burrow throwing to him too, right? And I think that has something to do with it. While I do think Sam Darnold is having a great game, a great season this year. Um, Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow, and especially in November. November, Joe Burrow is just built different. It's he always starts the year off rough and then ramps things up and gets it going. You know, and then QB, I think QB for me is going to be Lamar. The thing with Lamar is it's the running, right? But he's passing the ball a lot. He's not turning the ball over. He's got 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 538 yards rushing with another 2 touchdowns there, 2,600 yards. Joe Burrow's at 2,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 123 yards rushing and a touchdown. But Lamar is he just does so much. He does so many things. But yeah, that's who I got. Saquon, Derrick Henry, RB1, tight end 1, K. Dotton, wide receiver 1, Jamar Chase, and Lamar Jackson. He's going to end up being QB1 this year. 10-man PPR, trade James Conner and Amon Ra for Saquon. Ooh. Okay. Other wide receivers, you have Jamar, Cup, and Terry. Okay. So you're good wide receiver wise. Running backs, Derek, Chase Brown, B Rob. Um, I think you're giving up So giving up too much. Um, you do get. I mean, you're good receiver wise. I like Jamar again. I just talked about how Jamar is going to be wide receiver number one. I like Cooper Cup when he's healthy. He's back. He's healthy. I love Stafford throwing to him. Um, Terry's been. I mean, I'm assuming that's Terry McLaurin. Um, with Jaden Daniels, he's playing great football. He's having fun. Um, yeah, I think I might do that. Because you're kind of you got three receivers there. You've got some nice depth there. Running back, if you could add Saquon to um, that would definitely be nice. And you have Derrick Henry and Saquon, which would be insane. Um, I don't know that I'm trading away Saquon, especially for James Conner and Amon Ra. I love Amon Ra. Fun fact about him: the last 30 pass attempts from Goff to him are all completions. That just if he targets Amon Ra, it's a catch. That's all there is to it. And Jared Goff is just playing insane right now. He's playing great football. Um, yeah, I think I would trade Connor and Amon Ra for Saquon. I think you would be all right. My big three is Hurts, Kyron, and Justin Jefferson. That's not a bad. That's a pretty good little big three right there. Tight ends do suck this year. Chase, it's ridiculous how good he is. Yep, hit that like button. That's right, Duncan. Let's hit that like button. Yeah, that's where I'm going to sit at with that, Freezy. Adam, what are we doing? How are we doing today? Let's see here. Oh, Duncan. I don't know if we could talk anymore, sir. A Packers fan. Lions fan here. So, but dude, Jared Goff is sick. It's ridiculous. MVP. Jared Goff is your league MVP right now. I'll fight you on that. Lamar's great. He's won the last two. Let's move on. Jared Goff, MVP. Kyler or Daniel Jones? Kyler has been my main QB, but the Jets matchup is tough versus Jones. And I like Jones this week going up against Carolina. That's yeah. I mean, it's a great matchup, right? And he's been throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors like crazy. Um, you've got a nice little some nice youth movement there. Now they would definitely be better if they had Saquon, but Tyrone Tracy's played good. They drafted him. He's got healthy. He's been playing great football. I like Tyrone Tracy this week. I like Malik Neighbors. I like Daniel Jones going up against Carolina. Um, Kyler, yeah, it's just a tough matchup against the Jets. Although the Jets are they're not that great, but they'll give you some fits defensively for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, give me Daniel Jones. Yeah, it's not a fan of Lamar. I love Lamar. I love watching him play. I really do. He's fun to watch. Um, a lot better than we thought he was going to be coming out of college, right? For sure. Go Bills. Josh Allen looking pretty nice for that MVP though. Josh Allen's. Here's my thing, and Rapid Dave will tell you this. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. I love that guy. That guy he's going to win a Super Bowl with the Bills. He's a winner. Josh Allen is a winner. The dude does everything he can. I think they improved by getting rid of Stephon Diggs. I really do. Um, kind of a locker room guy for sure. But no, I love Josh Allen. I would, dude, if my Lions had it, I would have been excited, you know. But I love my quarterback. I love Jared Goff. And I wouldn't trade him for the world right now. I would not. I think Jared Goff has taken us to the promised land this year, and the Lions are winning the Super Bowl. So, good player, not a fan of. Yeah, I hear it. I hear you, Duncan. Yeah, there's some guys that are good that I'm just not a fan of. You know, I think Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. I'm just not a fan of him. He's not a great quarterback. I can name a decent amount of quarterbacks that take over him, but yeah, Josh is pretty untouchable. I mean, yeah, hey, if I was a Bills fan, yeah, which I kind of was a little bit growing up. Um, in the '80s, right? When you had when they went to back to back to back to backs, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost 4 straight, which is insane, insane. Um, I think one of the first football games that I ever remember, like I watched football games, but the one football game that has just always stuck with me, um, was when the Bills were playing the Oilers in the playoffs. The Oilers. And Warren Moon and the Oilers were kicking the living crap out of them. Um, they benched Jim Kelly in the second half, and Frank Wright came in and led them to that comeback victory. That like that. I will always remember that game. I remember watching that game. I remember it was watching it, and my friends were like, "Hey, come on out and play." I was like, "No, I'm gonna watch. I'm watching this game. They're kicking the crap out." I was like, "The Oilers going to score 100 points. I want to watch that." But little did I know, no, they weren't. That the Bills were going to fight back and win. Hot take: Josh Allen is the greatest Bills player of all time. No, Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith. Come on. Come on. Bruce Smith. I love Josh Allen. Love him. But Bruce Smith, that dude was a beast on defense. A beast. Hell, it's still early though, but I mean, Josh Allen definitely has the potential. He's got to take him to the Super Bowl. At least he's one of them. No, he's up there for sure, right? You've got Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Josh Allen. That's how all my friends are. Come and play me. The game is on, right? It was just, and normally I would like when I was a kid. Normally, yeah, I would have went and played instead of sitting down and watching. Um, but there was just something about that game. I was like, I'm watching this game, and then I was like, holy crap! As I'm watching the comeback happen, like it was just insane. God, I'd have to look and see what year that was, but I was I still in elementary school? Or was I in middle school by then? OJ Simpson, Jim Kelly were unstoppable back in the day. Yeah. Here's the thing. Jim Kelly was just efficient, right? Yeah, OJ. I mean, I kind of put OJ on the side. I mean, you can't fault him for his football. You can't mix his personal life with his football life, right? I mean, if you're talking about one of the greatest players of all time. But yeah, I love Jim Kelly. The cool thing about like quarterbacks back then, kind of like you had with like Peyton Manning, these guys didn't look like athletes. Jim Kelly didn't look like an athlete at all, but he could sling the ball around. Um, he didn't have to, but if they needed him to, he could, because you had Thurman Thomas back there in that backfield. Thurman Thomas was a great running back. Um, I think Thurman Thomas would have been looked at a little bit more highly if it wasn't for the fact that he was a running back the same time that Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders was going on. Like you had those 3 guys going all at the same time. Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, all great, great running backs, right? Um, so he definitely got overlooked a little bit. Wish I lived back in the '80s. I mean, you got brutal football, Michael Jackson, nice shows, etc. The '80s were nice. The '80s were nice. I was a kid through the '80s, but yeah, born in '80. Was born a month before the Miracle on Ice. I was a month old when the Miracle on Ice happened. Um, I still attest to it that they won that for me because I was born. So, but yeah, I mean, football back then was just, whew, yeah. I it was good times, good times. It was very, very brutal football, but I mean, it's definitely brutal now. Not as brutal, but you know, for me, what was best in like the '80s and the '90s was the NBA. Like I loved the NBA back in the day. You're talking about the Pistons, the Bad Boys, Showtime Lakers, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, that overrated hack. Being a Detroit fan, I always thought Michael Jordan was an overrated hack. Um, I think there was 2 of those NBA finals that he won because of Steve Kerr hitting game-winning shots. Steve Kerr and John Paxson. But yeah, they had to got open because they had Jordan there. But whatever, you know. Um, it, if he wasn't so, those Bulls teams could have won more if it wasn't for the whole Scottie Pippen, Jordan and Scottie Pippen not getting along, which I was okay with. Yeah, I wish I could have watched Ray Lewis. Dude, Ray Lewis was that guy. Oh man, I loved, I loved Ray Lewis. Man, I was born in 2009, so I was a lot late. MJ died that year, and lots of other stuff happened, but there were some pretty good movies. Yeah. Ray Lewis, I'll tell you, if you want to hear a funny story, listen to Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson. Someone asked him what the hardest he ever got hit. And he said it was when he tried to block Ray Lewis. Like he thought he was going to block Ray Lewis. And oh, buddy, that didn't work out so well for him. And you like as he's telling the story, um, they're showing the play where Ray Lewis just knocked the crap out of him. Ray Lewis was a bad man. That guy was oh, he was a bad man. Beware of DeMarcus Ware, yeah. Love D-Ware. Revis Island, right? Um, he was a great player. I just hate how he wanted a new contract every year. Like to me, that was the most annoying thing about Daryl Revis was he would sign a big contract and then go into the next season and be like, "Hey, I'm underpaid," because someone else would get. It's just the way free agency works nowadays, right? Um, Quarterback, whoever the next quarterback to get paid is, he's going to be the highest paid player. And that's the way it is with a lot of these positions. So Revis would get paid, and he was the highest paid cornerback, and then someone else get paid that season. And then going into the next season, he'd be like, no, I deserve to be paid more. All right, good night, kiddo. Night. That was the only thing that annoyed me about Revis, but I mean, Revis Island was a real thing, you know. Um, Before him, you had Dion. Like Dion back in the day was a thing of beauty. Like you just didn't throw to whoever he was covering. Like that's just all there was to it. Dion's favorite games was when he got no tackles because no one threw the ball over to him for sure. Do you think Mahomes is better than Brady like everyone else says? I don't. Brady has 7 rings for crying out loud. Brady is a GOAT. Um, and Pat Mahomes has the chance to become better. But he's got to win the championships. He's got to. Brady is just, and for me, a Michigan boy, you know, I'm a huge Michigan football fan. I remember watching Brady in college. I remember I'd moved down here the year after he was drafted. And I remember getting the newspaper the day after the draft and going through the draft in every round and looking for the team that drafted Brady and getting all the way down there to the 6th round where Brady was drafted and highlighted it and cut it out and hung it up on my wall. Right. This was back before, we had the internet. We can just go look it up on the internet. I had to go and get the newspaper and go through the newspaper and see it. But Brady was just, Mahomes is getting there. Um, but here's the other thing. Like, I don't think Brady ever had a year quite like this year, where Mahomes just isn't playing good at all, but they are still winning, right? Also, the reason Mahomes is freaking good is because the refs carry him all the time. I hate him personally as a Bills fan, yeah. But here's the thing. If you talk to a Raiders fan, they'll tell you the rest the reason why Brady they won that first Super Bowl, the Tuck rule, right? The Tuck rule is real, right? There's a whole rule because of a play that happened with the Raiders against the Patriots. So, and it wasn't, especially through his prime, you would hear how Brady would get calls that a lot of their quarterbacks wouldn't get, as far as like roughing the passer and things like that. But it wasn't like all these other calls, right? The complaints were always Brady got these calls, but they were calls on him or against him, right? Whereas, I mean, last year, opening week, Lions and the Chiefs, and the offensive lineman for the Chiefs was a false start every single play, and they never called it. They never called it. Um, and you see all these other calls going all throughout the game. Like, I hate that that's a thing, but yeah, it's definitely a thing. Before the game, Mahomes goes up to the refs and gives them a 20 and tells them to swing by later for more. Just his pitcher with like the 20 just kind of sitting there in his hand. He's just kind of like, here you go, buddy. Like he's dabbing him up, and just slides him over a 20. How is he even the MVP race right now with other guys? Like, I don't think he is. Like, I don't think he's in the MVP race at all. Um, and I haven't heard that. Now, maybe I'm not listening to the right guys, or I guess in this case would be the wrong guys if they got Mahomes as a MVP candidate, because he's not at all. Um, as a matter of fact, let me look at this because I could have sworn the last time I saw it. No, he's got more touchdowns than interceptions now. Close. I see posts on Instagram all the time about it, dude. That's unfollow those people. They're just going for clicks. But I mean, to me, it's Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Lamar. Jaden's not quite there yet. I love Jaden Daniels. The dude's been playing great. He's definitely your offense. He's your MVP, not your rookie of the year. He's your offensive rookie of the year. The posts are from NFL too. Well, they're just trying to get clicks. That's all there is to that. There's no way in the world if Mahomes somehow, because I mean, look at the years he's had. The last couple of years he's been kind of okay. Jordan Love is like Favre. No, he's not. Uh, no, no. Favre could take a team to the Super Bowl. I don't see Jordan Love doing that. I just think Jordan Love's that great. I think he had a great second half of the year last year, but time will tell. But I don't think I don't think we're going to talk about Jordan Love in the same breath that we do Brett Favre and even Aaron Rodgers. I mean, both those guys only won one Super Bowl. Allen literally reminds me of John Elway. Um, throw it up. Nah, Duncan, he's not a gunslinger. Like, I mean, he'll toss it up, but he's not a gunslinger like Favre was, right? Um, no, I'm not gonna. I see what you're saying, but I to me, no, no. I think Favre was better by far, if you ask me. Um, but I think Jane Daniels is gonna be your offensive rookie of the year for sure. Um, I don't even think. Yeah, his INTs aren't good. No, I hear you. He throws a lot of interceptions, but he doesn't have the touchdown ratio. Like Favre threw more touchdowns for sure. Um, but I get what you're. I can see the comparison, but I just think Brett Favre's just better. That's all there is to it. Brett Favre was just a better player than Jordan Love is. I don't think Jordan Love's gonna. I think Jordan Love is gonna finish his career not that great. I like how there are only two people in the chat. Hey, we'll chat up with whoever's in here, man. But Josh Allen, John Elway, yeah. Um, the difference there is Josh Allen's more likely to run than John Elway was, but John Elway had like Terrell Davis behind him, right? Especially those later years. Um, I hope Josh Allen doesn't wait till the last 2 years of his career to win the Super Bowl like John Elway did. It's not like John just waited for that, right? But that's when he did. But yeah, no, I definitely could see some comparisons there between John Elway and Josh Allen. It's just Josh Allen's more of a runner than John Elway was. Uh, John Elway would throw it more. Yeah, Elway had weapons. Yeah, he did. John Elway was he was all. I loved watching John Elway play. I love that he went out on top too after winning that second Super Bowl. He was like, "Hey, it's been fun. I'll see you boys later." Uh, but yeah, I definitely see the comparisons there. I love Josh Allen. I've loved him since his rookie year. I just thought the kid's going to do whatever it takes to win. Um, I love watching interviews with him. He's fun. He likes to have fun. He's got jokes. Um, I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen's great. You know, uh, Antonio Romero. What we got there? Antonio Romero. Is that someone I'm supposed to? Jacob, what is going on? How are we doing? We're just kind of talking. We're talking football right now. We're not even necessarily talking fantasy right now. But if you got some fantasy questions, go ahead and throw them in there. Yeah, more people. Oh man, but yeah. Let's. Hey man, need help to start 2 wide receivers and a flex non PPR. Okay, non PPR. Oh, we got a lot of names in there. Okay, let's see here. I don't like Bigsby. Um, I just don't. It. I don't like him. Tony Romo. Oh, Tony Romo. Tony Romo. Ooh, I can go off on a whole Tony Romo tangent. That guy, he wanted to get paid the most amount of money, and he didn't care about getting any weapons around him. But all right, let's get into George's question here. I need 2 wide receivers and a flex, non PPR. Let's see here. Hopkins. Hopkins had himself a decent week this last week, did he not? Let's refresh my memory here. They're playing Denver, a tough matchup. He had 8 catches, 86 yards, and 2 tutties. Um, Hopefully that's not just kind of an outlier. He's got a couple tough matchups. Denver is a tough matchup for sure. Tampa's not a tough matchup. So right now, okay, we like Hopkins, Amari Cooper, if he plays. That's the big thing with Amari. We don't know if he's going to play or not. Noon game. He practiced the exact same way he did last week, and he ended up playing last week. Hopefully, with another week, he'll play. If he plays, I do like him. But we got to make sure he's going to play. You know, Waddle. I do like Waddle this week. They're playing the Rams. The Rams give up the eighth most amount of points. Waddle only had 2 targets last week, but he did get you a touchdown. So he had 2 catches for -4 yards and a touchdown. Process that for a minute. 2 catches, -4 yards, and a touchdown. That's crazy. But you're looking at non PPR, so we're not necessarily concerned about the number of catches. It's going to be the production out of those catches. So Waddle's definitely an option. Brian Thomas Jr. We got to make sure he's going to play. He's dealing with a rib injury, but he does have a decent matchup, right? Let me just Minnesota. Decent matchup. They give up the second most amount of points to wide receivers. So as long as he's playing, he's a good option. DJ Moore, I don't like DJ Moore. DJ Moore is giving up on the Bears, literally walking off the field. His body language, I just don't like him. No, I don't. I'm not a big fan. McMillan, where are we at with McMillan? He's questionable right now. Dealing with a hamstring injury. He only limited practice. So you got to make sure he's going to play. Noon game. I don't know. We're probably not going to go, especially with dealing with a hamstring injury. Let's kind of stay away from him. How's that sound? Plus we've got better options. We've just got better options over him. Oh my gosh. Hold on a second. I'm having trouble typing right now. Ricky Purcell, he's looking to look. I mean, we're 2 weeks in. 3 catches, 21 yards, 4 catches, 38 yards. Nice matchup against Tampa. I still feel like we're better off with with Hopkins, Cooper, Waddle, Brian Thomas Jr. So I don't think we're not going to consider McMillan, DJ, Purcell. We're going to rule all them out. Bigsby, we're going to rule out. Mason, we're nervous about. We don't know how much CMC is going to play. What kind of a snap count is he going to be on? A good matchup. You can definitely see them running the ball a lot. If they get up big, you can see them kind of pulling CMC back and going more with Mason as they want to ease CMC in. You want him for the playoffs, right? Bucky, we haven't gotten much out of Bucky here lately. A guy that looked like he was really starting to kind of take over that backfield. 24 yards, 3 catches, 10 yards. I mean, we're looking at 2 weeks in a row of not great production. So we're going to go with 2 wide receivers. We're going to go ahead and go. If Brian Thomas plays, we're playing Brian Thomas. Okay. Brian Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins. And then I want to go with if Cooper is playing, he's my number 3. If he's not playing, we're going with Waddle. If Brian Thomas, so it's those 4 players right there in this order: DeAndre, Brian Thomas, Cooper, Waddle. Keeping our eyes on Brian Thomas and Cooper and making sure they're playing. If they're not playing, if I think we're going to at least get one of those 2 to play, right? But if both of them are out, you're going with Hopkins, you're going with Waddle, and then with our number 3 guy, we're going to go ahead and go with Jordan Mason as our number 3 guy. Because I see him splitting time with CMC. So, but hopefully, again, Hopkins, Brian Thomas, Amari, Waddle, Mason. That's where we're going. That's where we're going with that, George. Let me know what you think, but that's where I'm sitting at right now. I'm about to drop Xavier Worthy, bro. I swear. I mean, -1 points. Like, come on. I'm not. Don't drop Xavier. You drop Xavier, someone else is picking him up. If you drop Xavier, somebody else is going to pick him up. Don't panic. With here's the thing, they find ways to get this kid the ball. They do. He's a big playmaker, and they find whether it's through the pass game, through the run game, they find ways. Yes, he had negative points last week. I get it, but don't give up on him. Now, unless you can pick up someone that could be way better, okay. But as is, let's pump the brakes. I think, especially come playoff time, Worthy's still finding his way in this league. Just think Rashee Rice last year, right? Wasn't much until towards the end of the year. Then towards the end of the year, he really stepped it up big. So let's not panic. There's a ton of potential there in him. But yeah, we're gonna hold on to Xavier Worthy. Don't freak out. I'll give him another chance. All right, Jack. Yeah, thank you. Just calm down. I'm not set up for that right now, Jacob. Maybe in the next few weeks I can be set up for that for sure. So just kind of stay with the show. But yeah, I just don't have that set up. I didn't get any of that set up tonight. So, you think Brian? I hope he's gonna play. I mean, he played last week, right? Didn't get much production out of him, but he did play last week. He looks like he's gonna play. If he does play, I'm gonna play him. You know, should I start Brian Thomas with Mac Jones, or should I go Debo as my flex? Man. So do you need to hit a home run or not? Is kind of where I'm sitting at with that. Debo, bigger play potential. Debo, I think the possibility for the big plays are there every time he touches the ball, right? That's what you get with Debo Samuel. He's dealing with a rib oblique. You got to kind of keep an eye on him, but I mean, if he's playing, he's going to be fine. You're dealing with two guys dealing with injuries. I get it with Mac Jones, but I still think Brian Thomas will be all right. He's got a good matchup. Give me Debo. Give me Debo. Close, but Debo. Should I start Kirk or Herbert? We talking about Khalil Herbert or Christian Kirk? Um, that's no, wait, no. You're probably talking. Are you talking Kirk Cousins? Okay, it's got to be Kirk Cousins. All right, Turtle, hold on. Kirk Cousins. Okay, all right. Kirk Cousins or Justin Herbert? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Um, Atlanta's built for they're passing the ball, right? Because I was like, wait a minute, Christian Kirk is on the IR. We can't be talking about him, and we're not talking about Khalil Herbert, man. Um, I love Kirk Cousins. New Orleans tougher. No more Marshawn Lattimore. That's something that's huge. With no Marshawn Lattimore, that pass defense isn't that great, right? I mean, they're still good, but they're not as good. Dennis Allen's not there anymore. He was a defensive coach for sure. With Justin Herbert, I was huge on Justin Herbert going into the season. I thought this was going to be the year that Herbert was going to get back to the way he was a few years ago, where he was one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football. It is not. Um, they tend to run the ball more. They like to run the ball. Now, Herbert's going to sling the ball around. Don't get me wrong. He's going to sling it. But Kurt's just different. Kirk Cousins is just built different. That Falcons team is just built different. They're going to sling the ball. He's got some weapons there. Now, I know some of his guys are kind of banged up this week. I hadn't really seen, but you're still good. I mean, you still got Darnell Mooney there. I think London and all them are still supposed to be fine. Drake London is questionable. He is expected to play, but we all know how that can kind of go from time to time. And Kyle Pitts was banged up as well. Kyle Pitts has no injury designation, so we're good to go with Kyle Pitts. Yeah, I just think Kirk Cousins is just different. That's all there is to it. And when it comes time to fantasy, Kirk Cousins is the guy. Hey, man, I think it's time for me to go to bed. Thanks for all your help. Appreciate you, man. Hey, no problem, Duncan. Thank you for coming in, brother. As always, I appreciate it. All your interaction and all the other posts and everything. Thank you so much. Jacob, Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins? Volume-wise, Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is going to put more of the volume up. Jared Goff's not expected to sling the ball a ton. They're going to throw the ball a decent amount, but you're not going to have the same volume that you're going to have out of Kirk Cousins. You got a higher volume with Kirk Cousins than you do with Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff. I think he's your league MVP. I'm also a Detroit fan. That's my quarterback. I absolutely love him. He's taking the Lions to the Super Bowl this year. They're going to win it. That has nothing to do with fantasy. But I just think the volume there is more so for Kirk Cousins than for Jared Goff. Detroit is a ground pound, run the ball, short plays. You will get some bigger plays tomorrow with JMO back in the lineup. But and Jared Goff could throw you 3-4 touchdowns. He really can, but he's only going to have you like 200 yards, right? Kirk Cousins can throw you 3 or 4 touchdowns, but he's going to have 400 yards. He's going to have a higher volume of passes. He's going to throw the ball more than Jared Goff is. So based off of that, I just think the fantasy production is more so there for for Kirk Cousins than Jared Goff. Jack, send the bed to you. Hey, man, head to bed. Thanks for talking. Have fun tomorrow. Good night. Go Lions. That's right, Jack. Let's go Lions. Yeah. Yeah, I went with Gasecki, but once I heard Olave was out, regretted it instantly. T. Hill is going to get a lot of run now. I mean, yeah. But with Tay's boomer bust. I mean, Taysom had a big week last week after I talked out of playing him. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it is with Taysom Hill. I mean, and you're gonna if you don't play him, he's gonna have a big week, like I said last week. Or after I said I'm not playing him, I did follow it up within the same breath and said, but he's gonna have a big game tomorrow because I'm saying don't play him. That's just the way he is. Yeah, Turtles is Kurt. Duncan is Kurt. Yeah, actually, I'm going to have to stay. So you're good at that. Kurt. Yeah, everyone's Kurt. Yeah, hey, I'm a big Kirk Cousins fan too. I like Kirk Cousins. I think he kind of got a bad rap early in his career for sure. Um, the dude just fantasy wise, the dude knows how to sling the ball. That's all there is to it. He slings it. But go back. No one's saying that, Duncan. Come on now. Jake, I'm going to head to bed. Thanks for the advice and go. Gee, you guys are killing me with this. He's killing me with this. No worries, brother. I made the decision. I hear you. And like I said, man, like that, and that's the thing with Taysom Hill, and it's real. You've got the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like it's kind of like it was like in the beginning of the season with Pat Mahomes. Like people are asking, do I keep playing Pat Mahomes? I'm like, would you have the balls to bench him? Right? It's kind of the same thing. That's the thing with it. I mean, he's had 2 good weeks this year. We're going to what is this? We're going to the Packers ain't going to the Super Bowl. Packers ain't lucky to make the playoffs at this point. Packers. I mean, you're in the playoffs right now, but still. I'm keeping him still dropping Gesicki this week for Higgins coming back. Yeah, Higgins is supposed to be back, hopefully. You know. I mean, Cincinnati is fine with. I mean, they could put up the points without him, but they're better with Higgins for sure. And I don't think Higgins coming back does anything to Jamar Chase's production. Jamar Chase is dude's just having an insane year. Well, stop it. It's a little story. Oh, but yeah, no. Kirk Cousins, I like him this week. I picked. Here's the crazy thing about Kirk Cousins, guys. Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's actually up. He's rostered in 76% of leagues now. There's still 1 out of every 4 leagues someone doesn't have. There's a team without Kirk Cousins, which to me is just, I don't know. To me, that's insane. The guy finishes as like a top 10 quarterback just about every single year in fantasy football. He finds a way to be there in the top 10. Now, he's not there right now, but he had a slow start to the season, but he's not far out. He's not far out of it at all. And they're getting better. Atlanta's getting better. He's getting better. He's getting healthier. You know, he's coming off that Achilles injury for sure. Need a good stash RB or thinking about getting Vidal. I mean, Vidal's not a bad option. I mean, he's not getting you a ton. He's getting you a little bit of action. He had 5 carries last week, 7 yards, 6 for 16, 3 for 10, 4 for 11. I would just have to see who else is there for you. What are some of our other options, Michael? Me and Jacob are in the same league, so I told him about you. Oh, well, thank you, man. I appreciate it, Duncan. I appreciate it, man. And welcome, Jacob. But yeah, man, Duncan, thank you for sharing the show, telling people. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, Michael, who are some of our other? There's got to be. I mean, if JK gets hurt, but then also here's the other concern about Vidal, because I saw something today. You've got Gus Edwards is off the IR. It's questionable. He's probably not playing, but Gus Edwards is probably gonna get some carries when he actually gets back. Just thinking with JK, if they lower his workload in the playoffs. Yeah, but again, Michael, we got to worry about Gus Edwards off the IR now. We're not playing this week, but again, you're talking about a stash, right? Yeah, fancy playoffs, of course, yes. But here's the other thing that you're going to have with JK is I don't think the Chargers are locking up anything early. So I don't think we're necessarily concerned about Dobbins' play come fantasy playoff time. Because I don't see the Chargers locking up anything early for sure. All right, Duncan, man, have a great night, brother. Hey, let's get those dubs tomorrow. So I don't think we necessarily really have to worry about that. What's up, Trophy? How you doing, man? Um, what you would need to worry about with Vidal is maybe Gus Edwards, maybe becoming a number 2 guy. He was the number 2 guy going into the season, obviously, being the veteran there. They brought Dobbins and Gus in to compete with each other, to push each other. Those are 2 guys that have history playing together and things like that. So you're building a solid running back room. But with Gus Edwards coming back, he could definitely become that number 2 guy there. So then the concern is, do we stash Vidal, but then Gus became the guy? So that's my thoughts on that one, Michael. But there's got to be someone else out there to stash, right? Jason, start 2. Stevenson, Eckler, Jennings. Stevenson, love Ramondre. How are we doing with Eckler these days? Tough matchup against Pittsburgh. Eckler's going to be okay. We don't know B-Rob this week. Brian Robinson's ruled out. It is a tough matchup for sure. Jennings, nice matchup. Is he going to be the guy who gets the ball? He's completely healthy now, it looks like. No injury designation. So coming back after missing a couple weeks. How many are we starting again? We're starting 2. I think I want to go Stevenson, and I think I still want to go Eckler. Here's my thought on Eckler over Jennings. Okay. You know Eckler's going to get the ball. He's going to get the ball a lot. He's going to get the touches. Jennings, you're hoping he gets the touches. He's coming back after missing a few weeks. Ricky Purcell's come in and played okay. You've still got Debo there. CMC's coming back this week. It's another guy to kind of take targets away. The Steelers are tough against the run. They really are. They play great against the run. They stop the run. But I can see Eckler getting a touchdown. Okay. Washington's good. The Commanders are good at running the ball. I think Eckler finds a way. It might not necessarily be here's what you're going to get with Eckler, though, is he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at with that. Give me Stevenson, give me Eckler, because we know those 2 guys are going to touch the ball, and they're going to touch the ball a decent amount. Commanders are still wanting to run the ball a lot, take some pressure off of Jane Daniels. He's been playing great so far this year. The rookie's been playing awesome, but you still want to keep the pressure off him. You got to keep the run going. Eckler's going to find his way into the end zone. And Stevenson, I mean, we love Ramondre, right? He had a couple bad weeks. He got benched 1 week, but he only got benched for like a series. He just didn't start the game. So, Trophy, what we got here? Any changes? Kyler, James Cook, A-Chain, Cup, Debo, Pitts, Tracy, Chargers. You can bench Mooney, Vikings D, Dobbins, Bo Nix, Mason, Downs, Pickens. To me, it comes down to really unsure about flex. Tracy, Mooney, Dobbins, Downs, or Pickens. So that's what I was going to say. Tracy or Dobbins. There's where I make the change there with one of those 2. We're definitely playing Cup. Debo, I like Debo. Mooney should be. I mean, I do like Mooney. But I think Debo's definitely got the bigger play potential there. I think the only possibility that we might be talking about, let me just double check this real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, Pickens has been pretty good. When what's his name? Russell Wilson came back, but I think we're still going to go with Debo there. So to me, it comes down to, you want Dobbins or do you want Tracy? Tracy definitely has a good matchup going up against the Panthers. I like that matchup for sure. Um, but Dobbins also has a pretty good matchup going up against Tennessee. I mean, you got two really good matchups. Um, to me, it's Tracy or Dobbins. I don't. I hold on. I kind of want to lean Dobbins. I really do. I think I want to go with Dobbins over. That's a tough one. I don't really like Kyler's matchup against the Jets, to be honest with you. But Bo Nix against the Chiefs, I'm not super excited about that matchup either. I think I'm going to go with the veteran in that situation. Um, so again, to me, it's Tracy or Dobbins, Dobbins or Tracy. I think you're dealing with two really good options there. Um, the only thing is, I I'm not necessarily concerned about the pass a lot with Tracy losing action because the Giants just go to a pass because with Daniel Jones there, it's not right. Um, the Chargers have only been really good when Dobbins been running well. Man, I think that one's a tough one. And I think it's just going to kind of boil down to a personal preference. I mean, you might even just flip a coin. I think both guys are going to have good games. I think you're looking at close to 100 yards and a touchdown from both of those guys tomorrow, both with good matchups. I mean, Tennessee is not great against the run. They're not middle. They're a little bit better than middle of the field as far as giving up points, right? Um, but I mean, Tracy going up against the Panthers, he is dealing with um, the travel, right? With them playing at 8:30 in the morning over there. Um, but the Panther, you know what? Yeah, we're going Tracy. The Panthers are the worst team in the league against the run. So, yeah, that's where we're going at. Let's see here. Start one. Sutton, bad matchup. Jennings or Wandale Robinson. Um, Sutton is a bad matchup, but he's been good as of late. Like Sutton, it is a bad matchup, but the last 2 weeks, 7 catches, 8 catches, over 100 yards both weeks. Um, Baltimore gives up the most points to wide receivers, so let's keep that in mind, right? But I do think Denver's going to have to throw the ball a lot for sure. Wandell has has looked good so far this year. Um, Hold on a second. Where are we at with Wandell right now? Again against Carolina, 3 catches. He's not his target share's kind of gone down. Not kind of. It has gone down in the last 4 weeks. 11 targets, 9 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets. 5 catches, 6 catches, 5 catches, 50 yards, 23 yards, 30 yards, 10 yards. I do understand it's a nice matchup, but it's also, I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Jennings, we don't know. Debo's there. CMC's coming back. Ricky Purcell has been playing. He's back. And I think he's just going to start getting more and more of a target share. I know it's a bad matchup, but I think I want to go Sutton. That's Bo Nix's guy. He's going to throw the ball to him. I think that's where I want to go with. Start one, Douglas or any wide receiver for the Saints. Is Douglas done anything lately? I don't know that Douglas has done anything. Um, and that's a bad matchup. 7 catches, 35 yards, 2 catches, 6 catches. He had that touchdown in week 6. I mean, outside of that, I mean, he's just been kind of meh. So what, I mean, what wide receivers are we starting for the Saints? Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr's back. Yeah. No, yeah, definitely right. Honestly, didn't even think of Gus. Yeah, I don't really like Akers, Singletary, Warren, Algier, or Braylon Allen, or Justice Hill. I like all three of those guys. Don't forget Taysom Hill. Yeah. What wide receiver are we starting, Jason, for the Saints? Who do you got? Give me some names. But yeah, I'm going Sutton, even though it's a bad matchup. I just think he's just the targets are going to be there. I like Algier, Michael. I like Braylon Allen. I like Justice Hill. Um, I'm more so Algier and Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen's kind of disappeared a little bit. But Algier, they've shown they want to get that guy the ball for sure. I don't think Atlanta's going to be in a situation where they can take it easy. And if they do, then you bench Bijan, you're playing Algier, right? So the Jets aren't going to, they're not playing for a playoff spot, you know? So yeah. Yeah, I like Algier more than I do Vidal and Gus Edwards. So again, if for whatever reason Atlanta's taking it easy, that means you're going to get more Algier. But they also want to get Algier the ball. They don't want to go with straight just Bijan. They're going with two guys is what they're doing. Um, and Algier he's prone to have a big breakout game for sure. So if you run across a situation where like I need a guy who can maybe possibly get me some points, Algier's always that guy. He's got the potential to get a touchdown every week because he's gonna get a decent amount of carries. He's gonna get the snaps. He's a threat to catch the ball out of the backfield. Algier, if you're looking for a guy just to stash, Algier is probably the guy. Braylon Allen, you got to kind of hope that Breece Hall gets hurt. Justice Hill, Justice Hill could start to see some stuff because you're getting a heavy workload out of Henry right now, and so you want to be like, hey, we just need to kind of chill a little bit, right? And Baltimore is a team that come the end of the season could be playing backups. And so that puts Justice Hill in the lineup. So to me, it's between Algier, Hill. I think those are your guys that have more of a potential to play the end of the season. It can get you some points. Again, you're looking for a stash. This isn't the guy you're looking to play now or the next few weeks. But if the guy in front of him gets hurt, then you've got a good guy, right? Um, you've got someone that you know is going to get the ball, who's going to come into a favorable situation and be able to produce. No, I mean we didn't see anything out of him. He had 2 snaps, mostly special teams. So I mean, as long as we're taught, I always got to double check this and make sure we're taught. Yeah, that's the only guy could be Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, I'm not concerned about Keaton Mitchell. Only played 2 offensive snaps this last week in his return, but he's gotten you nothing all season. So yeah, if Kyler has a bad matchup, and he does, then should I pick someone up off waivers? Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Flacco, Carr, Bryce Young. Of those guys, and it's crazy that I'm gonna say this because I didn't think the guy. Let me hold on. Before I start speaking crazy talk. Okay, because I might just be saying something up completely insane, but yeah, I mean, I think Russ would be the guy um, that I'd pick up out of. I don't trust Bryce Young, right? I just don't trust him. I love Flacco. Don't get me wrong. I love Flacco, but he hurt my heart last week. Flacco hurt my heart last week. Um, he's got a tough matchup against Buffalo too, right? Tough matchup against Buffalo. Daniel Jones, they're playing Carolina, but if the Giants are having a good game, which I expect them to, I expect the Giants to win that game. I pick them to win that game. It's not going to be because of Daniel Jones. It's going to be because they're running the ball. Um, I mean, last week was one of his higher scoring weeks. It's because he ran the ball 7 times for 54 yards and got a touchdown. He threw 2 touchdowns, but he only threw 174 yards. So for me, it's going to be Russell Wilson. Um, and I kind of like that move, right? Um, I'm just worried about, again, it's a tough matchup against the Jets. Now, here's the one thing with Kyler is he's a guy that can definitely go in and take over a game, right? Um, it's the first time this season he hasn't. Last week was the first time he didn't have a touchdown pass against the Bears, which the Bears were a tough matchup. The Dolphins were a tough matchup, but he did good against the Dolphins. The Chargers are a tough matchup. He had a decent game there. I just the Jets are a tough matchup. I think Russell might be a better play there. Um, yeah, I think I want to go with Russell Wilson. But again, Kyler is a guy who can definitely take over a game. But I think the safe play is Russell Wilson, right? As crazy as that sounds, I don't like Flacco's match. And Carr, you don't know what you're going to get out of Carr right now. We had Carr great the first 2 weeks of the season, and then he's been kind of, now he does have a decent matchup. Um, he's got a decent matchup against Atlanta, but he had a good matchup last week. He only got you 13 points, 236 yards, and a touchdown. Um, I think Russell Wilson's the safe play there. Derek, last flex spot, PPR, Trey McBride, Rashid White, or Lad McConkey. Um, I don't like the matchup with Trey McBride. We were just talking about that with Kyler. I don't. It's a bad matchup with the Jets. Um, I like Rashid White. Rashid White had himself a week last week, if I remember everything right. I always got to make sure I remember things correctly. D- he got you a touchdown last week. Okay. Um, San Francisco's a little bit of a tougher matchup. He is going to get the ball a decent amount of time. Ladd, I like Ladd. I don't know if he's quite there where we can count on him week in and week out for production. He does have a good matchup against Tennessee. Um, but although Tennessee is more so for the run as far as the pass is concerned. But he got you 5 catches for 64 yards last week. The week before that, 6 for 111, 5 for 46, 4 for 43. So he's get you somewhere between 4 to 5 catches, 40 to 60 yards. If he blows up, he's, like he did against New Orleans, he had 111 and 2 touchdowns there. I think I want to lean Rashid White. We know he's going to get the ball, being the lead running back. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. That's the nice thing about him. He's getting anywhere between 3 to 6 catches a week for the most part. Not getting a ton of rushing yards, but that's also because they're kind of forcing them to throw the ball without Evans and Godwin in there. Let me just double check McBride. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great matchup. They don't give up a lot of points, the tight ends. I mean, he had 3 catches last week for 35 yards, but Kyler was down. I mean, for the most part, McBride's just been kind of okay. I think I want to go Rashid White there. Um, I think White's the safer play because we know he's going to get the ball. He's going to get the ball running. He's going to get the ball receiving. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Full PPR, Brian Thomas Jr. or Kincaid. and a 6-point per TD. Jones or Nix? Okay, Brian Thomas, if he plays, again, we got to make sure he plays. We're going Brian Thomas. Dalton Kincaid is going to get you 3 to 4 catches, 30 to 40 yards, maybe 50 yards. He's not going to get the production's just not there for him. Brian Thomas, the production is going to be there as long as he plays. QB wise, Daniel Jones has a good matchup against the Panthers. Bo Nix is going up against the Chiefs, right? Hold on, let me just make sure that I just want to make sure that I'm right on that. As far as, he's going up against the Chiefs. He's got a little bit of a tougher matchup. That Chiefs defense is pretty good. Middle of the road as far as giving up points to quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is going up against the Panthers. The Panthers suck. I'm going Daniel Jones, and I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. As long as Brian Thomas is playing. If he's not, then I guess we're going with Kincaid. I hopefully we get you got to have a better option than Kincaid, Smokey, right? Kincaid's just not that guy. Just hasn't been that good this year. The production hasn't been there. Like I said, 3 to 4 catches, 40 to 50 yards, maybe 60. If you're lucky, he'll get a touchdown. We had very high expectations for Kincaid going into the season, and he just hasn't lived up to those. So there's got to be a free agent out there that you could pick up that would have better production than Kincaid would. I'd almost go Bucky Irving over Kincaid, to be honest with you. And I haven't even looked at what Irving's done the last few weeks. But they're playing San Francisco. He's no longer on the injury report. But, I mean, he's going to get you a decent amount of carries. He's going to get you almost 10 carries a game. What he does with those carries, we'll see. And he's almost going to get you the same kind of receiving numbers that you're going to get out of Dalton Kincaid. So I would go Brian Thomas Jr. if he's playing. If he's not, I'm going to go Bucky Irving, especially Bucky Irving over Kincaid. That's where I'm going to sit with that one, Smokey. Brian Thomas Jr. playing. If not, Bucky Irving. Kincaid's last. He's the odd man out on that. And yeah, Daniel Jones over Bo Nix. I do like Bo Nix. It is a tough matchup. Daniel Jones has a favorable matchup against the Panthers. To me, it comes down to the matchup for that one. So, thanks for coming in, Smokey. I appreciate it. Derek, thank you for coming in. Trophy, thank you for coming in. Michael, as always, thank you for coming in. Guys, I'm getting ready to call it a night. So if you have any more questions before I get out of here, let me know. And if you don't get it in, as always, I'm going to post a short after this. And if you got any questions that you didn't get in during the live, throw them in there. If you got anything that tomorrow morning you're looking at something, you're like, oh crap. You're sitting down, you're having a little tinker stinker, and you're freaking out, and you're like, oh, I got this guy in here, but maybe I should put him in here, and you want some advice, let me know. I try to get to as many questions as I can on Sunday mornings. We don't have a tournament tomorrow, so I'll actually be around the house. Working on doing some cleaning in the morning around the house. We've kind of let it go with just being so busy with softball here lately and school and all that fun stuff. But 5 minutes before, just give me at least 10, 15 minutes. 5 minutes isn't going to cut it. Unfortunately, someone hit me up 5 minutes before the game, and by the time I got to it, the games had already started. I'm like, sorry, buddy. I didn't see this one soon enough. But, yeah, dubs for everybody, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Michael, as always, thank you for coming in here. Smokey, thanks for coming in here. Trophy. Jason, thank you for coming in here. Duncan. We had Jacob joining us today. I mean, just everyone who joined us. Jack, thank you guys all so much. I definitely appreciate it. Let's get those dubs. As always, I'm Alan. Talk to you guys later. Deuces.